Alrighty, let's dig into the finale of Dexter Resurrection's first season. In order to keep this short and sweet, I'm going to assume that you've been watching the season, so I won't waste your time recapping every little detail. So let's start with the ending itself. Dexter has wound up escaping from Leon Prater's vault, where he was locked away at the end of the penultimate episode. Thank goodness Prater and Charley made such a huge oversight in leaving Batista's phone inside, not to mention Prater leaving the passcode for the vault in his files, also within the vault. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate a good escape room, but talk about leaving Dexter with all the necessities in his little predicament. As is often the case with this show, the writers just couldn't help themselves. If Dex is having an issue, there's gonna be some silly reason that he can make it out in one piece. In this case, that reason is twofold and kinda strains credulity. Now, to be fair, Prater is dealing with a very sudden situation, so there is that explanation for the cell phone whoopsie-doodle. I still think it's a lot to just place in Dexter's lap and for neither Prater nor Charley to think of it in the moment, but fair enough. They've got a lot on their plate. Hell, there's a whole police gala going on downstairs. A lot's going on. Anyway, sorry, it just bugged me. Moving on. The actual code used to open the vault winds up being the prisoner ID number for Cooper Morris, the same man who killed Prater's parents in a not-so-accidental car accident, as mentioned back in episode 7. At first, Dexter thinks the code is the date of the accident, but luckily he stumbles upon the correct number at the last possible moment.
That was close. That was close.
He's also lucky that Harrison is able to make it from the kitchen to the penthouse by stumbling upon Charley, who just kinda lets him in despite warning against helping Dexter.
What?
Again, sorry, I'm being a bit nitpicky today, but it really is always astounding to me just how much luck plays into Dexter escaping time and time again. The man has the hardest working guardian angel this side of George Bailey. The big moment of this finale is of course Leon Prater's death, which is notable for being a rare instance of Dexter not adding his victim to his blood slide collection. It's one of the more cathartic kills we've seen from the Bay Harbor Butcher, but why not nab a drop of blood from Prater? It's simple enough. He doesn't deserve to be a part of the collection, for one thing. He's a wannabe who killed Batista, and while he doesn't want to die, he also would probably like to know that if he has to, that he would at least end up a trophy for the Bay Harbor Butcher. By robbing him of that one small luxury, Dexter is taking the ultimate revenge. Leon Prater will die without any known ties to the greatest serial killer of all time, and in the eyes of the police, he'll be a freaky cop killer, thereby ruining his legacy at the same time. Beyond all that, though, as Dexter says, he just doesn't want to remember the man who murdered his best friend. Which, fair enough. Once Prater has been properly bagged up, Dexter leads the police from the downstairs gala up to Prater's penthouse by inputting the wrong code in the vault keypad. This, again, is a way of fully destroying Prater. The dude spent a huge chunk of time and money garnering respect from the NYPD, and now that's all going down the toilet. It's a glorious sight to behold. Inside the vault, Detective Claudette Wallace experiences kind of the opposite scenario. The case that she spent years trying to solve falls into her lap with the revelation that one of Prater's files was on none other than the New York Ripper, which explains why he had the New York Ripper's weapon in his vaults in the first place. As far as theories for next season go, I think it's safe to assume that we're done with the New York Ripper. It seems as though making him an unknown was more in the interest of completing Claudette's arc than anything else. It was a parallel to Batista's obsession with Dexter and, like with that plot thread, seems to have been finished off. Most likely the New York Ripper, real name Don Frampt, will be caught between seasons without too much pomp and circumstance. At least that's my theory. Adding to that notion is how Dexter specifically leaves behind Prater's Ripper file, seemingly in the interest of giving Claudette what she's looking for. In theory, this gets her off his back, though I suspect that will be a short-lived victory. While the Ripper case will be solved come season 2, I think we're far from done with Detective Claudette Wallace. Then there's Gigi, Harrison's girlfriend, whom we only got to know a little bit this season, and who will no doubt be a bigger part of season 2. I think it's notable that she's the one to answer the call from Batista's phone, and she even acknowledges the name. This suggests that her little slice of insider knowledge will develop into something more substantial next season, when Prater's killing of Batista becomes public knowledge. Gigi, whose dreams of being a police detective have been squashed by her arm injury, will no doubt be curious as to why Harrison's dad was calling from Batista's phone. I get the feeling this will be a major plot thread moving forward. This also suggests that while Dexter will very likely take a road trip or two next season to hunt down Al and any other serial killers whose files he may have picked up on his way out, he is still probably going to be situated in New York City next season. It seems like there are still quite a few questions in the air that the show needs to cover, and add to that, Dexter is obviously not going to want to travel far away from Harrison, who's going to be going to school in New York. He even says pretty much this exact thing in his final monologue, that he needs these people around him. They're all very important. Lessing, Harrison, they all are so important to Dexter being himself. Of course, that doesn't mean a little bit of Miami can't make its way up to the Big Apple once again. It might feel a bit repetitive, but there's also the question of Quinn and how he'll respond to Batista's death. Will he realize that Batista was actually onto something? And what about Batista's phone records showing calls made to Harrison? Oh, or just Batista's personal files, and even the clue board he made in his hotel room. There's a lot out there linking Dexter to Batista's death, to the point that it seems unlikely that the writers or showrunner Clyde Phillips would just let it all slip away between seasons. Point being, Dexter obviously has a lot to contend with in the future, even if his Leon Prater problem has seemingly been properly disposed of. But the question is, what will be the primary plot thread for the show's second season? Will a new serial killer show up in New York? Will we see Dexter go after the killers we see in his new files, like the Midnight Mangler, the Jaw Splitter, and the Yonkers Slayer? And what about Charley? Did the show cast Uma Thurman just to have her disappear into the sunset with her mother? Or will she return to be a thorn in Dexter's side? Needless to say, there's a lot that could go down in the multiple seasons Clyde Phillips has planned for the show. I, for one, hope that Chief Angela Bishop from New Blood returns, but I know that's pretty unlikely, what with the cold reception that show faced. And with that terrible pun, I bid you adieu. Dexter Resurrection is an exciting new direction for the hit show, while also injecting the concept with just the right amount of the OG series appeal. What do you think? Did Resurrection wind up being the Dexter that you wanted? And what about Season 2? What do you think is being set up for the future? Let me know in the comments down below, and until next time, thank you for watching ScreenRant.